Part 1. The American Tourists. The movie begins with a young woman trapped in a shaft who cries for help before she is taken. In the next scene, by a pool in a resort in Mexico, American tourists Jeff, Amy, Eric, and Stacy are having fun at the tail end of their vacation. They meet a German tourist named Matthias, who tells them that his brother and a female archaeologist have found a Mayan temple. He asks the group if they are interested in going there with him and his other friend, Dimitri. Amy is hesitant, but when Jeff and others insist, they agree to join Matthias for the ride the next day. At night, they all party by the beach. Matthias also joins them. After a few drinks, Amy wants to dance with Jeff. He leaves the group to go to sleep early and be fresh for the next day. A tipsy Amy then dances with Matthias. When she gets really close to Mattia, Stacy jumps in. The next morning, Jeff finds Matthias and Dimitri drawing a map for their other friends who are wasted by the beach. Jeff goes to take a shower and finds Amy with a heavy hangover. Jeff nevertheless convinces Amy to take the trip. They finally agree to join Matthias and the team. The quartet, Matthias and Dimitri, take a bus ride close to the location of Matthias's brother, Heinrich. From there, they take a pickup truck taxi and ride another 11 miles to reach the location. At the location, they find Heinrich's Jeep and assume that they are close. When checking their phones, Matthias has a signal, but Eric doesn't have one on his phone. They follow the trail and, after a while, reach a stream. Passing that, they should reach the ruins. While crossing the stream, they see two Mayan children staring at them, frightened and cautious. Part 2. The Ruins. After some hiking, they come across an abandoned Mayan pyramid that is barely visible and covered in vines. Amy starts taking pictures of the group. Before they could climb it, a Mayan villager came to them on a horse and screams at them. When Jeff proposes to bribe him, he rejects it. Soon, a few more natives reach the location. Matthias then shows a picture of his brother on his phone, and when the natives are looking at the phone, Amy walks over the vines while taking pictures. Noticing that, the natives start shouting in their local language and take out their arms. Dimitri then walks over the vines and takes the camera from Amy to hand it over to the natives. Before he could get close to the natives, one of them shoots an arrow that pierces through his heart, and another shoots with his handgun right at his face. Dimitri dies on the spot. The group gets scared and starts shouting and crying. In the chaos, the group walks through the stairs on the pyramid. The group is in panic and surrounded by the natives with bows and arrows. Eric notices that he doesn't have a signal on his phone. Looking around on the top of the pyramid, Matthias finds his brother Heinrich, dead and covered by vines. The group is scared and does not know what to do. Jeff says that someone will come looking for them. He says that Matthias gave a map of the location to his Greek friends, so perhaps they would come looking for them. Otherwise, since they were supposed to leave Mexico tomorrow, if they didn't show up at the hotel, the police would search for them. All they have to do is ration their water and food supplies and stay alive. They sort of agree to that, having no other option. Then they hear a phone ringing at the bottom of a shaft that is dug in the middle of the pyramid. Jeff and Eric lower Matthias down the shaft with a rope. However, the rope breaks, and Matthias falls. Next, Stacy is attached to the rope and lowered down to help find Matthias and see if he is alive. Stacy reaches the bottom of the shaft. However, the rope being short, she jumps to the ground, hurting her knee. She finds Matthias paralyzed and unable to speak. She gives the information to the group. Amy has an emotional breakdown and runs down the pyramid to convince the natives to help them. Jeff follows her and tries to calm her. In anger, Amy throws a clump of vines, which hits a young boy. The Mayans surround the boy, and one of them kills him with a single shot. Jeff and Amy go back to the top of the pyramid. Jeff makes a stretcher and sends Amy with it to Stacy and Matthias's help. Amy and Stacy manage to put Matthias on the stretcher while hurting him a lot in the process. At last, they send him up the shaft. They get out of the shaft before it is too dark. Jeff reassures everyone that someone will definitely search for them, and that all they need to do is survive the night. Stacy, Amy, and Eric wish to believe in Jeff. They decide that one of them should keep watch while the rest sleep. Amy tends to Stacy's wound while both sob about their miserable conditions. Part 3. The Flesh-Eating Vines. Stacy wakes up to see a tendril of vine has crept into the wound on her leg. She wakes Eric up to take the vines out of her wound. The vines have also wrapped themselves around Matthias's lower legs and eaten them down to the bone. Jeff makes 2 tourniquets just above Matthias's knees. The phone is heard from the shaft again. Jeff and Eric send Amy and Stacy to find the phone. They are given a torch each. Both are scared, but they have to carry on the search for the cell phone. Reaching the bottom of the shaft, they hear the phone ring again. They move toward the direction where the sound comes from. They find a small passageway and go through it in a vine-covered room. They find a woman wrapped in vines sitting in a corner. Amy and Stacy can barely talk out of fear. They go closer to the woman and find her dead. She has a cell phone in her hand. Stacy checks it and finds out that it's dead. The ringing continues again. Amy discovers that the vine's flowers were the source of the ringing sound. As Amy touches one of the flowers, the vines attack them. They see another dead body and rush out of the room. The vines creep in from all directions and they barely get out by hanging from the rope. Both girls are traumatized. Amy screams at Jeff that there was no phone down there and that the vines made the sound. Eric and Jeff are skeptical when Amy tells them that the flowers were making the sound and that the vines were attacking them. The next day, Jeff tells the group that they have to amputate Matthias's legs, otherwise, he will die due to infection. After a disagreement on whether or not to amputate Matthias's legs, they vote on the matter. Matthias voices his opinion and says that they should do it. Jeff gives Matthias a bit of alcohol. With Eric's help, Jeff breaks Matthias's bones and then cuts off both his legs below his knees. Jeff burns Matthias's wounds with a hot pan to prevent further infection and bleeding. After the procedure is over, the group sees the vines taking away Matthias's amputated legs. It slowly dawns on them that the vines are carnivorous, and they realize why the natives were afraid of them. At night, a traumatized Stacy takes Eric's phone to check for a signal. They are in a state of shock and despair. Jeff goes for his watch for the night. Eric and Amy sit outside talking while Stacy sleeps. Eric comforts a desperate Amy when Stacy comes and confronts them by accusing them of having sex. While the four argue, the vines suffocate Matthias. He dies a horrible death and adds to the already hopeless state of the group. Stacy then breaks down and says that the vines are inside her. She takes a knife to show them, but Jeff prevents her. Then they hear the vine flowers mimic them, having an argument. Part 4. The Curse. The next morning, Jeff tells Amy that she owes him no explanation. Then Eric asks them to come into the tent and see the vines underneath Stacy's skin. A few of the vine tendrils have found their way into Stacy's leg and back. Jeff disinfects a knife and cuts through Stacy's skin to take out the vine from her leg and spine. Stacy is in pain and fear, yet she looks through the procedure to see the vines actually coming out of her. She screams in pain while Jeff takes the vines from her back. Stacy continues to sob after the procedure is over. Stacy, however, says that there is one more in her head. They see the vine tendril on her forehead and try to comfort her. She, however, is not satisfied and wants to take it out. When the group is asleep, Stacy wakes up and gets a knife to get the vine out of her head. The group comes and sees that Stacy has cut through her forehead and thigh. Jeff goes to take the knife from her. When he touches her, she flails the knife at him, slicing his palm. Eric tries to calm her, but she spins around and stabs him in the chest. Eric quickly dies of the fatal wound. While they were watching, the vines drag Eric away. They cannot do anything to stop the vines. Stacy then begs Amy to kill her. Jeff takes the knife out of Eric's chest and kills Stacy as an act of mercy. Jeff devises a plan to help Amy run away. He smears Stacy's blood all over her and hands her Heinrich's Jeep key. He carries her to the bottom of the temple and lays her on the ground. He then diverts the attention of the Mayans to himself. He says that the Mayans should know who they were and why they were here. He then provokes and berates the Mayans and signals Amy to run away. The Mayans shoot Jeff with arrows and kill him. Amy gets up and runs through the jungle, with the Mayans chasing after her. The Mayans shoot arrows at her, but she survives the onslaught. She finally reaches Heinrich's Jeep and starts it. A relieved Amy manages to escape with the Jeep. However, a vine tendril appears in her face, revealing that she is infected as well. The movie ends with Dimitri's Greek friends walking through the jungle and reaching temple looking for him. Part 5. The Verdict. The Ruins is a movie in which characters' reactions are displayed under intense pressure and their natural instinct for survival. The story is linear, but doesn't fail to provide thrills for everyone watching it. While the movie script is far from the actual novel of the same name, the movie's story and the way it is written are incredible. The practical effects and the CGI used in the movie are praiseworthy. Overall, it is a surprise that this movie has not done well at the box office. Today, after more than a decade and a half, the movie stands for what it was supposed to deliver: thrills and horror. This was our recap and verdict. Tell us what you liked or disliked about this movie. Let us know in the comment section what movie we should recap next. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified when we upload new videos and enjoy watching.